Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. So, I just did a video for the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies, and the next team that I want to kind of address, or the next matchup, I should say, I'd like to address, is the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I'm not going in the order of importance to me or anything like that. I'm just pulling them out of a hat and just saying, all right, I'll talk about this series and moving forward. So, I come in unprepared. That's part of what it is that you come here for. You just want to see a guy kind of mouth off. So that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, first of all, the New York Knicks are a team that is completely and utterly blown everyone away, everyone's expectations away. And to be honest with you, I am not a fan of the Knicks, but if I ever were to say that I appreciate a team other than the Lakers, it would be the Knicks, and it always has been. I've been like that since I was a little kid. So I always had an affinity for the Knicks and the brand and the whole Madison Square Garden thing. It just appealed to me even as a youngster. Even before I became a Laker fan, I actually liked the Knicks stuff, like the colors and all of that. Yeah, for whatever it's worth. So anyway, and as far as the Atlanta Hawks is concerned, the Atlanta Hawks is a team where they've also blown me away in terms of what they've been able to accomplish. They've taken expectations and just shattered them as well. Now, albeit they're not as popular to talk about as the New York Knicks, but maybe as equally impressive, especially given how they started the season and what was going on around their team at the beginning of the season. With talks of guys not appreciating how the team is being run offensively with Trae Young. There's a lot of talk about John Collins and Trae Young not being on the same page basketball-wise. Talks about Rajon Rondo being a player that they weren't happy to have acquired, wanting to get rid of him and saying that it was, something that they needed to do, what have you. The coaching situation, they fired their coach and brought in Nate McMillan, if I'm not mistaken. Is that who they brought in? I think they brought in Nate McMillan. Oh, God, I got to check that out. But they brought in a different coach, and that coach has taken that team to the fourth spot. And the thing about it is, the Atlanta Hawks have drafted very well over the last couple years. They've put themselves in a position to acquire a lot of talent and have really done a good job of their rebuilding process. And right now, what you're seeing is some of those players that they've picked up over the years are starting to round into form at the same time. You got John Collins, who's healthy, a guy who hasn't been healthy over the last couple years, in and out of their lineup with injuries. He's had a pretty good year, even though I think he missed some games again this year with something, maybe health and protocol or something, I don't know. But they got him down there now. He's out there ready to go. You got Clint Capella, who's had an all-star caliber season, in my opinion. Heck, I think in most people's opinion. If you look at how he's been rebounding the ball, he's been really, really explosive all around the rim, shooting at a phenomenal percentage, and just he is the catalyst for what they're doing. He is the reason why they are in fourth spot, in my opinion. I don't think this team is anywhere near the fourth seed if Clint Capella wasn't out there doing what he's doing. That's what I want to say about the Hawks. That's the meat and potatoes of the Hawks. They've done a fantastic job of picking up players like Gallinari, making sure that they have guys like Lou Williams now. Trae Young is healthy, so that's a really good thing. What else? They got some guys, man. DeAndre Hunter has been missing in action for half a season, but the last time we saw him fully healthy, he was playing like an all-star and was very much a part of what they were doing. I think he's back healthy now, and that does not bode well for the New York Knicks. So just want to throw that out there. DeAndre Hunter is a problem. You still got Cam Reddish coming along. He's building along, trying slowly but surely. He's coming along, getting better. So they're a very loaded team, man. They got some players on that bench. They got a couple guys. If I'm not mistaken, there's a guy by the name of Brandon. I can't think of his name, but he's a shooting guard over there as well. They found him. He's a diamond in the rough. One of those guys that you pick up, and throw him out there when somebody's hurt, and he takes advantage of his opportunity. They got a guy over there who's done that. So it's a lot of good things to say about the Atlanta Hawks. And going into this New York Knicks series, I think they got a good chance. As good as the Knicks are, and I think the Knicks are good, the thing that makes me wonder about the Knicks right now is the health of of Mitchell Robinson. That's the concern for me with the Knicks. Because when you're dealing with the Hawks, as I've said, the thing that you have to pay attention to the most is not Trae Young. It's Clint Capella. You know what I mean? That's the issue. And while Juju is playing like an MVP caliber player, he's out of his mind right now, what you're going to find is John Collins can kind of match some of that energy. John Collins can kind of match some of those stats. Maybe not in the assist category, but the scoring and the rebounding. Yeah, John Collins is going to negate some of that. He going to cancel some of that out. So that's what you're going to end up running into. The combination of Clint Capella and John Collins are going to be a whole lot for the New York Knicks. And while they do have guys like Nerlens Noel, who's kicking butt, blocking shots like he was drafted to do, and having a career year, offensively, Nerlens ain't going to give you a whole lot. He'll dunk the ball a few times, but that's about it. You know, what you want to be able to throw out there is some type of offensive guy because, you know, and I think that Mitchell Robinson, even though he doesn't really do a whole lot of scoring too, he's fantastic when you throw the ball at him and tell him to dunk it. He's going to dunk it quite a bit. As to where Nerlens Noel is not looking to score even when he has opportunities to. He'll dunk here and there, but he's not a scorer. Mitchell can score a little bit. Mitchell can offset some of that energy that Clint's going to bring to the table, and most importantly, make it more difficult for him to pull down boards, things of that nature. Create problems, make it so that Trae Young has to shoot these teardrops and all stuff like that. I think the Knicks will be in a much better space if Mitchell Robinson is out there for them. I don't know his status. Last time I checked, he was still hurt, so I'd have to check. But as much as I love the Knicks roster this year, they're going to have to get a lot out of guys like Quickly in this series. Like Emmanuel Quickly's going to have to ball out. And they're going to need him to average upwards of 18 points. He's going to have to give them some Lou Williams energy. Because you best believe in the playoffs, a guy like Lou Williams is going to be wide awake for the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know what Lou Williams has been doing all this season since he got to Atlanta, since the trade came. But I can assure you this. He's here for this. They brought him in so he could be available for this moment. And being that they're going to be playing some games in Madison Square Garden, and I know Sweet Pepper Lou, he's going to have some big moments. Even if they're not Clipper-esque, do not be surprised if he has a big moment in this series because he's built like that. R.J. Barrett, like I said, DeAndre Hunter, if he's healthy, he can give you some of that R.J. Barrett energy. Some of that stuff that R.J. Barrett does, DeAndre's capable of doing that too. Scoring the ball, and DeAndre's a better defensive player too. So it's one of those situations where I'm not saying he's R.J. Barrett. R.J.'s a gifted offensive talent. But we're talking about negating stats and who can cancel who out. You best believe that a healthy DeAndre Hunter can cancel out R.J. Barrett. As good as R.J. is, and R.J.'s very good. He can score like the wind. But they got players over there in Atlanta. Just like Cam. Cam is a defensive player as well. They got guys that they could throw at R.J. They match up well against the Knicks in that regard. So this is a situation where even though it would feel good, I would love to see the Knicks win this series. The matchup leads me to believe that the Hawks probably have the edge, unfortunately. Now, the Hawks don't have anybody by the name of Julius Randle playing this well. So if Juju continues to play as well as he is, despite the players that they can throw at him defensively, that bodes extremely well for the Knicks. But I just have a feeling that Juju is going to have to, in theory, who knows how players actually execute. But in theory, Juju's going to have more big bodies to deal with than most of the time. Atlanta has some big bodies to throw at him. So, yeah, this is an interesting series, man. It's an interesting series. For me, if I'm a betting man, if I say my predictions right now, I got the Hawks winning this series in 6, to be honest. I'd like to think I'm wrong because, like I said, I do like the Knicks. But I look at the matchups and I say, man, Trae Young is going to eat, man. Now, the thing about it is, the guy like Alfred Payton plays a little defense out there. Alfred Payton is a guy who can get a lot of people involved. I think potentially the Knicks offense could be much more cohesive than the Atlanta offense because Atlanta doesn't really have pass-first players. That's kind of part of the problem. They tend to have shoot-first guards in Lou Williams and obviously Trae Young. Even though Trae does get assists, of course, he's not a pass-first player. And being that this is a playoff situation, I do wonder how Trae Young is going to perform in this series. I wouldn't be surprised if we see crazy Trae. Ice Trae the gang, talking 50 points, 15 assists, big Trae. Wouldn't shock me if he shows up like that. We know he's capable of that. We know how great of a player he is. And he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. He's kind of gone. A lot of people have been criticizing his game and how he plays and things of that nature. This will be a good time for him to start showing out, especially in Madison Square Garden. So, yeah, we could see the legend of Ice Trae the gang start right here and now. So that's another reason why I'm looking at the Knicks. I'm saying, man, yeah, this is not a good matchup for the Knicks, man. I don't know how other people are viewing this series. I pretty much wonder. I'm going to go check out some commentary, see what other people are saying, because I just don't know. But for me, I don't like the Knicks for this series. I would have loved for them to go up against somebody else. It's just a weird matchup. It seems like everything that the Knicks have, the Hawks will have an answer for. Everything. That's what it looks like on paper. The question is, will the Hawks play defense? Because we know damn well the Knicks will be. The Knicks are one of the best defensive teams in the league. So maybe I'm not looking at this properly as it pertains to the Knicks, because when it really does come down to it, if it's between two defensive teams, you're definitely picking the Knicks every time. But I just feel like scoring the ball, Atlanta can keep up. They in fact, they have more weapons, believe it or not. They have even more weapons. So, although I don't think anybody on that floor is going to play better than Julius Randle, a guy like Clint Capella can just make things so much more difficult than they would be otherwise. So, that's what I got, man. Hawks in 6 is my prediction for this series, and I'll be happy to be wrong. My name is BDF44. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.